everybody, and welcome to Morning Brew podcast, where we spotlight the people, programs, and partnerships making a lasting impact across our Laredo community. So what if I told you that over 19,000 students from South Texas have been given a real shot at college thanks to just one powerful scholarship fund? Well, that's the magic of the STARS Scholarship Fund, a game-changing organization that's been opening doors to higher education since, get this, 2002. Well, on this week's Morning Brew, we are delighted to have with us former Texas State Senator Morgan LaMantia and her mother, Linda LaMantia, both proud Laredoans and fierce advocates of education. Together, we are diving into a powerful conversation about opportunity, access, and the legacy of the LaMantia family through the STARS Scholarship Fund. So join me in welcoming mother and daughter. I'm so privileged to have you guys on Morning Brew. I've been wanting to talk to you all for such a long time because of the STARS Foundation. And Morgan, former senator, I am in awe of everything that you've done at such a young age. So welcome to Morning Brew. Thank you so much for, I know, traveling here because right now you're not living here. You've been down in South Texas, where you've been a senator over the last 2 years. So you are back to your roots here in Laredo. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you so much for having us on the show. We've been so excited when we got the opportunity to come. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Linda, I don't even know where to begin. The STARS Foundation, you and Steve, your husband, and his family started this foundation decades ago, and it has just grown tremendously, giving so many kids opportunities that they wouldn't have had before. So I guess let's just start at the beginning. Let's start with how the STARS Foundation came to be and how it's grown through the decades and where you guys are today with it.
It's hard to believe it's been 23 years.
Wow.
It seems like it was just yesterday we were having our first event, and so nervous to put it all together and see if we could actually make this happen.
Yeah.
So my father-in-law had this great vision. He just really wanted to help educate the community where we live, because we all want educated workers and a workforce, and it just elevates the entire town when we can do something like this. So,
absolutely. Your father-in-law founded L&F Distributors, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and for the viewers who don't know what L&F Distributors is, let's talk a little bit about that.
It started out just a Budweiser Anheuser-Busch distributorship, and since then it has grown. We distribute, of course, Anheuser-Busch products. We distribute wine and spirits. We also distribute non-alcoholic beverages. We have jarritas, and we have water,
and we have Red Bull,
Saratoga, and Pellegrino. A lot of different things that we're distributing now.
Both in Laredo as well as a little bit further south from Laredo, correct?
Well, we actually cover from if you drew a line from Corpus Christi across everything south, and then we also have El Paso. So we've actually extended the STAR Scholarship Program, not just to South Texas, but El Paso as well. So it covers West Texas too.
Okie doke. So your father-in-law wants an educated workforce, needs an educated workforce, but does it in a way that is just going to help so many individuals, correct?
Absolutely. And he came down to South Texas at the age of 17 after he finished high school, but he never had the opportunity to go to college. Wow. And so he wanted to make sure that not only his kids, but everyone else in the community had that chance and opportunity. And so that, I think, really instilled in him the value of education.
Wow, amazing. So how did he start it? 23 years ago. It started with a vision.
Yes.
And then from there?
He called his kids and said, let's do this. Let's get to work. He said, y'all are in Laredo, let's get that done. And you're in Corpus, let's get this done. So we started having events in each of the locations.
In raising money.
Raising money.
Needed to raise money and then put together the idea, the vision, the criteria, and all of that. So when STARS started 23 years ago, how many kids? Because now it's over. I mean, you've almost served almost 20,000 kids with the STARS Scholarship. How many did you all start with way back then?
I'm trying to remember, because just last year alone, we gave out $1.6 million to 600 kids.
Wow.
So we've given out a total of to 9,547 kids, a total of $41 million
in scholarships.
Wow.
But the first year, I want to say, maybe we're raising about 120,000 in each location, and we would give out every dollar, and we still do. We're very proud of the fact that every dollar we raise goes to a scholarship.
Right, and that was one of the pillars that my grandfather started when we started STAR Scholarship, was that every dollar we raised, every sponsorship dollar was going to go directly to scholarships, and that LNF would basically pay for all the administrative costs and all the other additional costs and raising that money. So that way everyone knew that when they donated to STARS, they were donating directly to these students.
Because some scholarship funds or foundations, there are administrative costs. I mean, there's salaries for folks that have to administer and take care of the paperwork and all of that. But LNF, like you said, just decided to absorb that themselves.
Absolutely.
That's a big undertaking, a generous undertaking to do, because it's no easy feat to run a scholarship of this magnitude, definitely. Well,
We also cover the cost of the event too.
Okay.
So that your dollar really is going to a scholarship. And then the other thing my father-in-law had the vision of, he's thought, you know, these schools should be helping us out too. Let's see if we can get matching funds. And we have 20 schools in Texas that give matching funds. So for every dollar we give, they'll match it $1. So it really helps the kids, or the students, because they're not all kids. We give to all ages.
Yes. And so that's one of the things that sponsors, I think, really feel a lot of value in, is that for every dollar they give, if a student goes to one of those Texas schools, they're actually giving $2 in scholarship.
Well, how in the world did you all convince universities and colleges to do that? Because, you know, they already probably have to dish out a lot of money on their own, but
A&M was our first school that came up and said they would do it, and they were giving us 2-to-1 for several years because they realize the quality of kids we have coming from South Texas. The values, you know, especially at A&M, you know, they're all about their core values. I'm an Aggie, so. But they're all about their core values, and that's what we have in South Texas. You know, we're very family oriented. We have strong values, and these kids were that's the kind of student they wanted to graduate from A&M. So they were giving us 2-to-1, and then slowly and surely we started getting the other schools to come on.
Wow.
Yes.
So 20 schools are already matching then?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's universities and community colleges.
Well, on your website, you've got, I was telling Linda that I was looking at the little logos of all the universities. You've got some amazing universities that are doing the matching program. I mean, you know, UT gives a matching program, Texas Tech, Incarnate Word, UTSA. I mean, you just go down the list and see these amazing universities that have no problem matching the scholarship funds that the kids get. What's the average scholarship, or is it just everybody gets the same amount?
Right now, the average scholarship is a little over $3,000. I mean, we'd always like to do more, and we've always had that discussion. Do we do more money or
and
help
less
more
students?
It's just, how do you balance it?
Right. So what's the average number of students per cycle that are awarded scholarships?
Well, like I said, I believe you said last year we gave 600.
Okay, 600
So,
at 3,000
At 3,000. And so depending on how much money we raise each year, that kind of determines how many students, how many scholarships we can give out.
That is a good number at $3,000 each. But then the universities are matching that? Or is that with the university match?
I think that's with the university match.
That's a good
I
amount
have to
of
double check
money.
that, but yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's go back to the beginning. So your father-in-law tells all the kids, let's get to work, and you all just have to go out and start hustling for money.
And telling people, okay, we're doing this, and they're like, what? It's all new.
Yeah.
And now, you know, we've had such a great, it's almost like a circle of giving. We have such a great response from the community. And our sponsors come back year after year after year because they know that we're going to give them a really nice event, and they're going to have a lot of fun, but they also know how much they're helping. And they're hiring these kids too, so it's really important that they help.
Yeah. And the money we raise stay in the community, stay in South Texas or West Texas. It's not like some other scholarships where it could be going across the country. The dollars that they're giving are staying to help our community as best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the event and how other companies can help the STARS Scholarship Fund get involved with that. And then after that, talk a little bit about addressing the students or the parents who might be watching so they can in turn talk to their kids about how they can possibly qualify to get one of these scholarships. So stay with us. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Why pay a monthly fee? Free checking at IBC.
Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Morning Brew. We are talking about the STAR Scholarship Foundation, or STAR Scholarship Fund, and we're talking with Linda LaMantia and her daughter, Morgan LaMantia. They are, and their family, the founders, the establishers, the creators of the STAR Scholarship Fund. So in our first segment, we talked a little bit about the history of the Scholarship Fund. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how companies, corporations can get involved and why they would want to get involved because of the overall goal of the scholarship. So ladies, welcome. Thank you so much once again for coming back on Morning Brew, coming back and sticking around with us so we can talk about such an important topic, scholarships. You know, as a parent, everybody's hustling for scholarships. It's tough out there.
It's very tough.
It is. It's tough to find the right one, tough to find one that your son or your daughter qualify for, and the competition is just brutal out there for every penny. It's not inexpensive to go to college, but you guys make it so affordable. But of course, you do it through the help of some very generous corporate and sponsorships. So how could more corporations get involved? How can they help the STARS Scholarship Fund?
Well, we'll take money anytime.
Go to starscholarship.org and you can donate right there directly to the program.
But we have annual events in the different communities. We have one in McAllen and Laredo and El Paso. And you buy a table to be a sponsor of the table. We have different sponsorship levels. Those that have been sponsors for a long time, maybe they'd like to up their sponsorship level, because every dollar goes to a scholarship, goes to help a student. And when we help the students, our goal is, or our ideal goal is, that they come back to Laredo and live here.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of our kids, I can't remember the exact percentage, but they're first generation college kids. And that's changing lives. That's changing generational lives. Because
Right.
when you educate someone, then all of a sudden their siblings are able to think about going to college. It's a reality now. Their children will think of that as a reality. Oh, my parents went to college, I will go to college. It really does change generational.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about corporations, companies wanting to be a part or needing to be or should being a part of the STARS Scholarship Fund, it behooves them to do though, because of an educated workforce.
Absolutely.
And everybody needs an educated workforce. It just benefits them. So that is an overall goal, of course. I mean, the student needs an education, wants an education, wants to make something of himself or herself, but the corporations benefit at the end as well. So you all hold these events, like you were just mentioning, the extravaganza
Yes.
event, and you do them in the 3 different cities that are a part of the STARS. So Corpus Christi, Texas, Laredo, Texas, and El Paso, Texas.
And McAllen.
And McAllen, so
Yes.
4 different areas. Tell us about the different events that you hold.
Well, we've had to do a little hit and miss, I guess. We're trying to figure things out. And McAllen would do these concerts, and they're drawing from a big area. We're kind of our island, right? We were talking about that earlier, how Laredo's its own island. And McAllen has Far, San Juan, Weslaco, Harlingen, Brownsville. They're all there together, and they can draw from that. And they would have concerts and fill the stadium and
Wow.
do great at that. We'd have a concert, and we had Los Lonely Boys, we had Leanne Rimes, we had Ana Gabrielle. We tried all different genres, and we just really weren't going anywhere with that. We'd have them at the Sam's Auto Arena.
Who were some of the performers in McAllen?
We've had, I think, Leanne Rimes. We've had a lot of country music artists, a lot of Texas country music artists. I think we had Pat Green at one point. We had a lot of different musicians.
But you're absolutely right. McAllen is more of a hub for music and for performers.
And so McAllen and Corpus ended up having the concerts and the music artists, whereas
They had
Laredo.
Carrie Underwood, too.
We had Carrie Underwood, yes.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Laredo transitioned away from the concerts, and you guys started bringing in speakers.
Yes, that really hit a note. Our sponsors really enjoyed that. We've had former presidents of Mexico, we've had politicians, we've had generals, we've had comedians, we've had Magic Johnson. He was tremendous. He was so great.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've had
and you've had political talking heads that we were talking about earlier, Carver and
James Carville and Mary Matlin.
yes.
And you had Carl Rove that one year.
Absolutely.
You've had some of really, and I don't know, Laredo loves its politics, I
They
guess.
do, but,
I
you know,
guess
we-
because we enjoy listening, to these national speakers. And like you said, Vicente Fox, when he was, here, president of Mexico at one point, of course, and they've all just been amazing.
Right. And we had former astronaut from the Valley,
That's
Michael.
right.
Yep.
Mike Fossum is a former astronaut. He's now vice president at Texas A&M Galveston.
Wow.
But he's been to space 3 times, and
That's
he was
amazing.
great to talk about.
What do y'all do for El Paso? What's their thing?
Well, so right now, actually, their extravaganza is coming up, and they have Steve Trevino. He is a comedian who's from South Texas as well, and he's got specials on Netflix. He kind of his comedic is America's Husband, and so he's wonderful. And so they're really gearing towards comedians right now, I think.
Wow.
And we
Yeah,
just had him in
interesting.
McAllen as well, and he was wonderful.
Interesting. Well, now is a good time to be laughing. So
Yeah, exactly.
we
Bring
could
some
definitely-
levity to everyone's lives.
We could definitely use a good laugh. So I imagine he's going to be fantastic too. Well, this is it. The extravaganza is always a wonderful. We always have a great time. KGNS has always had.
You're our wonderful sponsors. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
We
Thank
appreciate that, and we always have a good time. We're always fighting for those tickets to see which one of us is going to be able to sit on the table. But when you do participate in the extravaganza, there's a silent auction that is always a hoot to watch as well, because you see people that are just buying for those outstanding prizes. I mean, there's some really good things that they could bid on, and that's another way that companies, of course, can help
Absolutely.
fund the STARS Foundation. I keep saying foundation. The
It's
STARS
okay. It
Scholarship
works.
Fund. Sorry about that, but that is another way that companies can get involved.
Yeah.
Send your folks to the extravaganza and then bid on
And bid
some
on
of the
items,
good prizes.
exactly.
Yeah. What are some of the prizes that you all typically offer? I know that there's some good ones.
We really try to curate some really unique items that you just can't get someplace else. But
And working with the community to do that.
That's another way that
Yes.
folks can help,
Yes.
possibly underwrite a trip for 2, or I know that there's been dinners by some
Yes, some local
amazing
chefs.
Yes, I remember that. I remember.
We've got original paintings by Mary Quiros and one by Christina Zoraya Spear. We've got Deutsch & Deutsch has donated the most beautiful Omega watch. It's in this
Wow.
gorgeous wooden box. Oh, it's exquisite. It's so beautiful. Morris Jewelers is giving a diamond necklace. We've got a trip to Argentina to go hunting, bird hunting.
Wow.
We have
A wine vertical, Vega Sicilia.
yes,
Yeah.
Vega Sicilia wine. We have the dinner that Border Foundry always
Pete
helps.
Mims.
Yes,
Yes.
Pete Mims.
He
His
will
son
cook
Richard,
for you.
His son Richard is helping out this time as well.
Yeah.
Pete's trying to let Richard take over. He keeps telling me he's retiring. So
We keep pulling him back.
from
Yeah.
our dinners, yeah, we keep pulling him back. But Richard's in charge this time, I think, and
Yeah.
that's going to be exciting. It's for 20 people, and it's a 5-course dinner with
Wow.
wine, with the matching wines, pairing wines.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, Disney on Ice, they donate
Right.
a suite for 14.
Wow.
So have a child's birthday
I was
party
just
there.
going to say, what
It's
a
great.
wonderful kids' birthday
And
party.
Alamo Draft House gives us one of their theaters.
yes.
You can go in and bring all your employees, or just have a really big party and pick whatever movie you want to watch.
Yeah, that is nice.
That's a great
You know,
experience.
and just hearing all of this, I mean, so many different ways that companies can step up and help, because either underwriting, buying a table, there's just so many different opportunities for folks to get involved, and at the end of the day, help students get that college education and help the workforce become more educated. So on that note, we're going to take another quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk directly to parents and students so that we can share with them how they can hopefully get access to a STARS scholarship
Great.
fund. We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back, everybody. We are talking to the LaMantia family. We've got Linda LaMantia and Morgan LaMantia, and we're talking about the STAR Scholarship Fund and what a wonderful opportunity it is for students to get the education and realize a dream of higher education. And of course, we just talked a little bit about how companies and corporations could really help with the STAR Scholarship funding for it, because at the end of the day, it's going to create an educated workforce. So on that note, I'd like to talk directly to parents and students, Linda and Morgan, on how they could qualify for a STAR Scholarship.
Well, the minimum requirements are 12 hours of college credit, which is very doable for kids graduating from high school because there's so many AP courses you get college credit for, or there's dual credit, taking courses at the community college at LC or at TAMU.
So if they're seniors in high school, then and they wonder, well, what do you mean I have to have 12 hours? I'm just a high school kid. Well, hopefully we have got parents and students watching right now, because now is the time, maybe as sophomores or juniors, to get in just a couple of hours while they're in high school so that they could qualify for a STAR Scholarship. Correct?
Exactly, and there's so many different courses that they do offer that are
a lot
concurrent, that you can get credit for in high school and get credit for college.
Yep.
And the AP courses, of course. You
Yeah.
take the AP course, you take the test, and you get credit.
Yeah, absolutely. The Passport program, there's a UT also program that
Yes.
they do at the high school. So there are several different pathways in order to get 12 hours of college.
Yes, there are.
Okay.
A minimum requirement of 2.7 GPA
Okay.
and a U.S. citizen or legal resident.
And you have to be living in South or West Texas.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, you need to
Yes.
be from one of the South or West
Right.
Texas counties.
And when you were talking, Morgan, just a little bit ago about that line. So the line is
So it's about 30 counties that encompasses South and West Texas. So
Okay.
basically wherever LNF operates, that's kind of where it is. But
Okay.
it's Corpus Christi. You draw a line across, it's everything south of there.
Okay.
And then, and it actually goes a little bit north in Corpus, and then West Texas, so the area around El Paso, a couple counties around El Paso.
Okay.
Yes, that includes Alpine and Marfa.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So got to
And-
be living there.
And you have to be either enrolled or accepted to a 2-year college or a 4-year university.
Okay. Now, it doesn't matter where the student wants to go.
No.
It's not the college, it's the student meeting criteria.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Though if to basically get more money, if you go to a college or university where we do have matching program, we're able to give more money to those students.
Got
but
it.
the money that is awarded from STAR Scholarship follows that student to whatever college or university they decide to go to.
Okay, they can go to New York and it'll be fine.
Absolutely.
Okay, our money works there just as good.
That's right.
And it's not just for their first year. It's
Okay.
throughout their higher education career. They can apply for STARS. And so even if you are a parent and you live here in South Texas and you want to go to college, you want to go back to school, or you want to continue your higher ed career and going back for your master's, you can apply for this program as well.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I'm sure we've got a lot of parents out there that would love to go back to school and
Yes.
get a postgraduate degree. Now, if a student does qualify and gets a STARS scholarship their freshman year, do they keep applying for their sophomore year?
Yes,
or
they have to
so
apply
it's
every
not
year.
automatically. Okay,
They have to
you
reapply every year.
Okay, and meet the same. Obviously,
Yes.
they'll have the
Requirements.
college hours for the second, third, fourth time around, but they'd have to maintain that 2.7.
Right. And
Okay.
the fact that they
application-
graduated from the high school here, even though they may be living in Austin because they're going to school there, that still qualifies them.
Okay.
Yeah. And the application is not a really difficult application, and there is an essay portion, but you can use the same essay that you used to apply for your college application. We always go online January 1st and end on March 31st.
Okay, so they've got 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months to fill out the application and get it in. I would imagine there's a lot of competition for a STAR scholarship. How many you have to narrow it down to 600. You said 600 this past cycle, but
because that's
how
what
many?
we had raised for the previous year. So it's always
Okay.
a contingent on what we raised for the previous year.
Got it. So the more money you raise, obviously the
more
more money
scholarships
you
we
can
can
give.
give.
Yes.
What's the average number of kids who apply for a STAR scholarship?
Well, it's a lot more than the 600 we gave out, which
Yes.
is really makes us sad. I hate
Yeah.
to not be able to afford for the kids that have successfully completed the application and are qualified, and then to have to turn them down. It's really difficult.
Do you keep their application on hold for the next year? Or
No,
you
So
just
they have to
ask them-
reapply
they
the next
reapply?
year. And so we work with the high schools, we work with the colleges and universities to make sure that when the application does go live, students know about the program, because the more applicants we have, we can go out to our sponsors and say, look how many applicants we had and look how many scholarships we were able to give. There is a need, there is a want, help us raise more money.
Yeah, that is a really good point. And at that point, if you see that you still have a couple of hundred or more left over,
right,
you know, that's great leverage to go and ask for more money.
That's what we hope, yes.
Yeah, definitely. When you do knock on people's doors or corporations' doors, do you get a good response from them?
We do, but especially because we're able to guarantee them that, one, the dollars are going to stay in our communities and go to the students in our communities, and two, we're able to guarantee that every dollar that they give is going to go to these scholarships and not used for any other costs or expenses.
Wow, that to me is amazing when I saw that you all don't, you know, use any of the money, because, you know, it's hard to absorb the cost, the administrative cost, because sometimes that's quite a bit of money. So that's something that LNF has to themselves budget for and take on that responsibility as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, let's talk a little bit about a program that you just added on. And it's so exciting because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, as we were just talking about it. And you all are doing something special in a new program.
Right.
Yes.
So we've, just like all of us here in the community, we've seen what a mental health desert we live in when it comes to providers. And we wanted to make an impact in really bringing more providers and getting more access to mental health providers here in our communities in South and West Texas. So we created a program where we gave $130,000 endowment, and we partnered with UTRGV, and it is going to help cover the costs for Masters of Social Work to get their licensed clinical social work, so they can become clinical social workers and provide therapy to those in our areas and our communities. And we recently just partnered also with Texas Tech. So if you are a graduate of UTRGV or Texas Tech and you got your Master of Social Work, you can apply for this program and get your supervised hours covered.
Wow, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when do you all plan on launching this?
So the one with UTRGV is already launched.
Okay.
And so the application goes through UTRGV and they administer it. And Texas Tech hopefully will launch it soon.
So folks can start looking out for that program.
Absolutely.
Then. Okay. Where would they get more information on that?
So
Would they go with their own?
They can go to startscholarship.org, get more
Okay.
information, or they can go to either the UTRGV social work program page or Texas Tech's.
Okay. Well, what's in the future? Anything?
Sorry, Texas Tech, UTEP.
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 Okay.
I was just thinking Texas Tech. My cousins live in El Paso. They went to Texas Tech, so I always associate with Texas Tech. It's UTEP.
It's the University of Texas
El
in
Paso.
El Paso.
Yes.
Okay.
My apologies.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But Texas Tech is one of the universities that does match
the
with
stars,
because I
but
did
they
see
do
their
have a medical
logo.
school in El Paso as well. So
Yes, they do.
There's a reason to be confused.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But it's UTEP. Yes.
So, you know, going back to, before I change the subject here, the new cycle, you said you guys are fundraising from now all the way until December. So by the end of December, you'll know how much funding you'll have and how many kids you'll be able to award scholarships to, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then the new cycle of kids will start January to March of 2026.
Correct.
So this is the time for kids to start getting, you know, all of their ducks in a row. If this sounds like something that they can do, they meet the criteria. Even if they're juniors or sophomores, they can start ramping up
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Then they
Their
start planning on
GPAs
taking
and
their college courses.
Yeah, I would imagine 12 hours, you can start pretty much as a freshman, sophomore.
Yes.
And that's almost a full semester. So how much does that save you when you go off to school, that you already have those hours behind
Yeah,
you?
absolutely.
It's tremendous.
Yes, absolutely. And the schools pay for that. So that is something that you can deduct from your overall cost of a degree. Well, I would just want to, you know, in the short time that we have left, I just want to talk a little bit about Mo, you are gearing up to take over the program. What's the plan now? You've got siblings and cousins and, you know.
Yes, and they're living in all different areas. We've got siblings and cousins in El Paso and Dallas and Victoria in the Corpus area and in the Valley. And so now that we're older, we're all getting more and more involved in STARS and really trying to grow the program, which is why we grew the mental health portion of it. But hopefully we'll also be able to grow the fundraising and those unique live auction items that we're able to pull and get.
It is a family affair.
Very much so.
Definitely.
the education and the mental health portion are extremely important to all of us, just as they were to our parents and to my grandfather as well.
Yeah. You know, Linda, what a legacy for the LaMantia family. I mean, you've done, and your family, the LaMantias, have done so much for the community, so much philanthropic work in the community, in all the communities that y'all are a part of. But do you see the stars as just being, you know, what you all want written on the gravestone?
It's a star on the tree. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just the fact that we've been able to help so many students, you know, it's amazing now in my career working, and I've actually started talking to, hired someone, and we start talking, and they're like, I was a STARS recipient.
Wow.
And we're seeing those original STARS recipients now coming back to the community and becoming professionals in the community and really starting to see the ripple effects of that first pebble that was dropped. And that's what's so rewarding and really keeps us going, because we're seeing STARS recipients all throughout the state of Texas, and not just in South and West Texas, and seeing what they've been able to achieve with our help. They did it on their own. It was their work and their effort, but we were able to help them get them there. And I think that is just a wonderful legacy that we wish to continue.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to continue for decades to come. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us.
Thank you for
I know
having
you guys
us.
are so busy with everything you have going on. Morgan, your life right now is just, you know, up and down all over the highway. You're
All
on
over the highway,
road a
yes.
lot. And Linda, you've got grandbabies that you
Yes.
are seeing being born a lot with 5 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So we appreciate you taking the time to be on Morning Brew and educating us on the STARS Scholarship Fund. We appreciate it. And good luck to you, and we welcome you to come back. If you want to come back in the fall and give us an update on how everything is going, we'd love to have you back.
Thank you. We'd love
Thank you
to.
so much.
Absolutely. And that does it for this episode of Morning Brew. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate having you with us. Until the next time, what do we love to say? Enjoy the brew.